I'm sucking on a lime here.
Okay, guys,
I'm a
this is
lime
how
sucker.
this is how desperate we are. We have a lime sucker in the house. Please,
I'm a lime sucker.
please,
See, I'm almost out of. I'm out of juice. So,
please. Make
Alex,
sure to donate to our show
before
so he doesn't have to keep sucking on. Maybe you can suck on a lemon, and
doing
then
this for a week. The same lime.
and then make sure to like, subscribe, and share so everyone can watch him suck on limes.
Right now, you got offended at somebody the other day. Well, who are you getting offended at now?
Well, first of all, let me start with a question to you.
What?
The left is constantly accusing the right, or people right of center, of being Nazis and being like sucking on limes and all sorts of horrible things like that.
Yeah.
Is there legitimacy to their whistle blows?
I'm really happy you asked the professor to untie the Gordian knot here, okay? Because a mutual professor friend of ours of the oxymoron called political science, who teaches still at Santa Boomkin Silly College, he and I got into a vociferous and vicious discussion about this because
best of all of them.
He claimed that Nazism is a product of the right and is not a product of the left. And I disagreed with him. I said no, because it's true that nationalism can have elements of extreme rightism, but when you conflate nationalism with socialism, as in National Socialist, as in Nazi, then you have a contradiction. So the Nazis are a contradiction of terms.
You have to put them in one or the other.
No, well, yeah,
right?
You have to put them in one or the other. And what they tried to do was something that can't be done, and that's why it actually collapsed. What you're trying to do is saying that this nation, the Aryan German Reich,
it's really it's
right.
global. So technically it was globalist.
And has supremacy over every element of the human race. But at the same time, they don't own anything. The people don't own anything. They're socialists.
Yeah. I mean, Candace Owens pointed out that Hitler wasn't a real nationalist because he wasn't
a real socialist either.
But anyway,
hence the contradiction.
I mean, I know the term right and right wing is super ambiguous. It really means whatever people want it to mean.
Yeah.
As far as conservative goes, just if you look at the philosophical history, it's incompatible with Nazism.
Right.
Just bigotry. It's not really compatible.
You've landed on something very important there. Okay, stop using other people's dictionaries. Don't use the dictionary of the left. The left wants to conflate in their dictionary a right-wing person is by definition a Nazi and a fascist.
Yeah, but it's not the here's the catch. Getting into the point you were talking in earlier, it's not just the left that is trying to conflate and contort the realities of the conservative movement.
Yeah.
A true, real, honest-to-goodness scumbag, Nick J. Fuentes.
Who?
Nick J. Fuentes.
Nick J. Fuentes?
Yes.
It sounds like an item on a Spanish menu.
So he'd probably be very offended at that. So he is not quite a Nazi or a white supremacist. He thinks that he's a conservative. He thinks that he's right wing. I wouldn't call him either. He is a Holocaust denier. Just let me start there.
Yeah.
He very much hates Israel. And he gives me no indication.
He's an anti-Semite.
Yeah. So this is basically his shtick, making fun of Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, and what he calls conservative Inc. Now I know what he means by conservative Inc. He hates the sort of the structuring of the conservative movement because goodness forbid you actually have structure. As a goodness forbid, and it's not all believe it or not, politics is not all trolling on Twitter. Gasp. I mean that. But his big criticism, and he thinks that he has this big army and this big group of followers, and he does have extremely loyal followers who will bombard people like Charlie Kirk at Q&A sessions. Just to give you an example, Charlie Kirk is on stage with this black gay guy. I'm blanking on the name right now of this guy. And one of the guys, these are called goipers. They're the
Goip?
that's the name of like his his little minions.
I mean, Goy is a non-Jew, right?
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Goyim means Goyim means.
I didn't think of that, but I guess it's probably what they're going for. So they go up, the guy just asks at the question, "What does anal sex have to do with the conservative movement?" I mean, they're clearly just trolling.
Well, that's a hard question to answer, isn't it? It really is, right?
But in any case,
I could have answered it.
well, the Nick Fuentes is essentially arguing that people like Charlie Kirk and part of Conservative Inc. or actual structure are anti-conservative because they like Israel, they support Israel. That's like anti-nationalist in his mind. Mm-hmm. And a fair argument can be made that we don't have a blind loyalty to Israel, but I don't think that anyone on the right is suggesting we have a blind loyalty to Israel.
No.
And it certainly doesn't mean we could get in a Holocaust denial or anything like that.
Right.
There's nothing at all anti-American about being skeptical about our relationship with Israel. I think that we should support Israel. But nevertheless, that's neither here nor there to the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that I don't see how there can be a hatred of Jewish people within the conservative movement, or a hatred of people just for for their beliefs or who they are, or in general. There's hatred of ideas seems like the only legitimate time to be hateful at all.
Well, to put some more light on it, Alex, I think that let's take the 1920s, 1930s Germany, where anti-Semitism was a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. It was not a political thing. It was cultural. There's a big difference between being political and being cultural. Right?
Interesting.
When German non-Jews were being competitive with Jewish bankers and Jewish lawyers and Jewish artists and Jewish professors, the elite classes of society, and when in those throes of competition, the non-Jew lost a position or a company or money or some value or real estate or whatever they lost in competition. This is how anti-Semitism grows. And the reason is because the Jewish community being, I call them in flight. They're the only ethnic group I would call constantly in flight all over the world. They did not have a homeland. At least you Armenians, you had a piece of land that was, fought over with blood.
Whatever's left with it,
Exactly. But the Jews were driven off and did not have a homeland. So they specialized in music, in poetry, in drama, in film, in art, in professorships, in academics, in law, in business, in finance, in investments. And they do very well because if someone's trying to kill you, you're going to compete very, very hard in life. Whereas if you're culturally more comfortable and laid back and, because I lost $1 million today, who cares, So I'd like to make that distinction, that cultural anti-Semitism is different than political anti-Semitism. Political anti-Semitism is not motivated by money. It's motivated by power.
Now, final question. Do you think that both within reality and in the idealistic, does anti-Semitism have a place within the conservative movement?
No, it has no place anywhere. I mean, when you take a group of people and you're opposed to that group of people and consider them to be inferior, it has no place in anyone's thinking. Least of all conservatism. That's my view.
Well, I certainly hope Nick Fuentes hears that. Probably not, because he doesn't listen to good.
I'm not going to get a Christmas card from Nick Fuentes, okay?
Well, he doesn't listen to good content, so
no, I'm just going to suck on.
You guys do, and I appreciate you guys listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and throw money at our general direction. We really appreciate that.
Fill up my gin bottle here, okay?
Yeah. That's what you need, alcohol.
Thanksgiving is coming up. We got to talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas, the holidays.
Yeah, we'll make it seasonal. You bet. See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.